The days after the ultimatum passed in a blur of sleepless nights and uneasy decisions. Kofi felt the weight of it all, the pressure, the anger, the looming sense of betrayal. In the quiet hours before dawn, as the village slept, he paced back and forth beneath the ancient baobab tree, the one that had witnessed countless struggles for freedom. He could almost hear the whispers of his ancestors urging him to rise, to act. But the stakes had never been this high. This wasn't just about his people anymore. It was about the very future of his country. Kofi knew that resistance would come at a price, and that price was beginning to reveal itself. Rumors spread like wildfire. A group of local farmers, who had been outspoken about corruption in the government, had disappeared overnight. No one knew where they were, but their families were left with nothing but questions and fear. Kofi's own brother, Ya, had tried to get answers from the local authorities, but the response was chilling. The police warned him, "Stay out of this, or you'll be next." The injustice was growing too large to ignore. But with each step Kofi took to push back, the threats grew more direct. His phone was tapped. His meetings with other activists were monitored. One evening, while walking home from the market, Kofi's eyes caught the shadowy figure of a man trailing him through the narrow alleyways. The man's footsteps were deliberately slow, as though waiting for something, waiting for Kofi to make a wrong move. That night, Kofi gathered his closest allies. "They think we're afraid," he said, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. "But we can't let fear win. We stand together, or we fall alone." But even in this moment of resolve, the dangers were closing in. The government had taken a more insidious approach, launching a disinformation campaign aimed at discrediting Kofi. His image was smeared across the news, called a traitor, a troublemaker, even a foreign puppet. He was accused of stirring unrest and threatening national security. The narrative was no longer just about a man fighting for justice. It was about a man being portrayed as a threat to the very fabric of the country. The tension reached a boiling point when, during a peaceful protest in the capital, government forces opened fire on the crowd. The protesters were unarmed, young women, farmers, students, yet the soldiers shot them down with cold precision. Kofi watched the horrifying images unfold on his phone, his stomach twisting into knots. His heart sank as he recognized the faces of those he had spoken to just days before, the same faces that had dared to dream of a better future. But the worst moment came when Kofi's own father, a man who had spent decades in quiet resistance to oppression, was hauled away by the authorities in the dead of night. They didn't even give him the dignity of a trial. They simply took him, leaving his family in shock and fear.